Time for another short film clip to tell you that, at least for now, I'm done putting filler on and sanding. And in a large kind of way, that's pretty okay. I will spray a kind of a filler base on the trailer when I start painting it, and I will probably see and find more small imperfections that I don't like, or things where I have small holes in the filler and things like that. But that is quite possible to touch up when I get to that point. So for now, I'm pretty much done. Eventually this part of my garage will become my paint booth. And as you can imagine, it will not, from a professional point of view, be much of a paint booth, but it will be my paint booth. I also wanted to show you, here again, the little T thing, because I now have, same as on the doors, I have a lock, an opening mechanism for the hatch. So I can open and close it. I can't show you now, but I think you can see this one here. Probably not this one, but this one. So what I have is a central mechanism that turns, and then I have arms going out to the actual locking mechanisms that go in on both sides and make the hatch catch to the rest of the trailer. And I can operate it, and I don't think I'll be using this T handle in the end for this one, but for now I will do. I probably have some kind of, so there you go, some kind of proper handle so that I can lift it as well as turn it, but I know where to get those. I actually have one on the Worcester. So eventually I have some other stuff to attend to, but eventually I'll be going from here to painting. I realized I'm not quite ready for paint yet. The reason being, I have to, and I've had to do some more welding, which has to do with the interior of the trailer, and at least so far as to making it into a teardrop, because as I think I talked about in the beginning, a teardrop is not only an aesthetic and a design concerned with that, it's also a concept. And now you can see one of the major features of something being a teardrop. So I've divided up the trailer into a sleeping compartment and a rear half or third, which is going to be the kitchenette, galley, I don't know what you want to call it. And I hope you can see that up top you take a bit more out of the space, and down under the dividing panel is closer to me, because you need, of course, more room to be able to stretch. So I have about 210 centimeters of length to sleep in. And up here, of course, it's less. And then this is going to be where you do your cooking and maybe dishwashing, whatever. Eventually somebody, I don't know if that'll be me, will make it a complete, kind of kitchenette interior. And to get this in, I had to do some welding and weld in some small brackets so that I can screw it into place. So that's what I've been doing now, and eventually maybe I'll get on to paint. So I've done some more work to the interior, basic kind of compartments or spacing of the rear of the kitchenette is done. So I have some flooring down here, and of course the partition, and the partition a little deeper in there, and the basic work surface. I think you can see that I've also started to put up some plastic. So I've got plastic on the wall behind me, and maybe you can also see that I have some on my left, your right. And that's because, of course, I don't have a spray booth. Who does? Well, a lot of people do, but I don't. And I have to manage somehow, anyhow. So what I do is I put up plastic, so make it a kind of a smaller compartment where I don't spray everything in my workshop. And now I'm going to try something different, because I also want to show you what I've done with the sleeping space. So I'm going to go behind the camera and we'll see how that works. So this is kind of a new one for me, but you can see the interior in the rear, and of course all the plastic. And I'm going to go over here and open one of the side doors. Now I don't know how this is going to work out. Well, maybe not too bad. I had a couple of old mattresses, foam mattresses, that I figured I could use for this. So I made the floor and I put in some foam, and here to the rear you see the partitions, but also I put in a shelf, trying to use up the material that I have. Of course, this is just, you know, basic stuff when it comes to the interior. I've also put in a shelf space in the front of the trailer. So that's pretty much all I'm going to do with the interior right now. And then I'm off to put some primer on. See if I can make that work. Got my first coat of primer on, an epoxy primer, following the guidelines by people who know about these things, because I really don't. When I got the first coat on, the epoxy one, of course I could find imperfections. So I've been doing a bit of filling and a bit of sanding, and now I've also started to sand down this layer, which you're supposed to do. And when I've sanded this layer down, I'm going on to a filler primer, an acrylic filler primer, and then I'm going to sand that down, and then eventually, hopefully, I'll be ready for color. We'll see.